The Kingdom of the Sea Bottom, Part 2. A week passed, and Lesan went about his usual routine, playing in the garden, exploring the beach, and enjoying time with his family. Yet, every night as he lay in bed, his thoughts wandered back to the magical underwater adventure. He couldn't stop thinking about the dazzling sea creatures and the breathtaking beauty beneath the waves. The shimmering ring on his finger was a constant reminder of that unforgettable night. One evening, as the moonlight spilled into his room, a familiar tapping sound woke him once again. His heart raced with excitement. He knew exactly who it was. Jumping out of bed, he rushed to the window, and sure enough, there was Tyro, the turtle, tapping on the glass with his stick. Lesan smiled and opened the window. "Are we going back to the sea tonight?" he asked eagerly. Tyro nodded. "Yes, Lesan, there's so much more to show you. Are you ready for another adventure?" Without hesitation, Lesan put on the magical ring, and together they made their way to the beach. The night air was cool, and the sound of the gentle waves greeted them as they waded into the water. Once again, the magic of the ring allowed Lesan to breathe underwater as they descended into the depths. The underwater world was just as enchanting as he remembered. Brightly colored fish swam in schools, their scales glittering in the moonlight that filtered down from above. Long, flowing seaweed danced in the currents, creating a peaceful underwater garden. Lesan marveled at the stunning coral reefs, their vibrant hues glowing softly in the dim light. Every corner of the ocean was alive with beauty. They swam through arches of coral, their surfaces teeming with tiny creatures. Lesan felt a deep sense of peace and wonder as he explored this magical realm with Tyro at his side. But tonight, Tyro was leading him somewhere different. As they swam further, Lesan noticed the water around them becoming thick and foggy, as if they were entering a cloud beneath the sea. The vibrant colors of the ocean began to fade, and visibility grew hazy. "Where are we going?" Lesan asked curiously, feeling both excited and a bit nervous. Tyro smiled reassuringly. "Trust me, Lesan, there's something extraordinary beyond this mist." They continued swimming through the fog, and after what felt like a long journey, the mist began to clear. Lesan gasped in awe as the scene before him came into view. Beyond the foggy veil, towering mountains rose from the ocean floor, and nestled between them was a grand and magnificent palace. It glittered in the distance, its walls shimmering with an otherworldly light, as if made from the finest pearls and corals. "Is that a palace?" Lesan asked, his eyes wide with amazement. Tyro nodded. "Yes, Lesan, that is the palace of the Kingdom of the Sea Bottom. It is the heart of our world, and the ruler of the sea resides there. Few humans have ever laid eyes on it." Lesan's curiosity was piqued, and without thinking twice, he swam closer, eager to explore the mysterious palace. Tyro swam beside him, guiding the way as they approached the towering structure. As they neared the palace, Lesan's heart raced with excitement. What wonders awaited them inside? What secrets did this underwater kingdom hold? With the majestic palace standing before them, glowing like a dream in the deep blue sea, Lesan knew that his adventure had only just begun. As Lesan and Tyro swam through the narrow sea gorges, the water grew cooler, and the terrain became steeper. They emerged from the gorges onto a neatly paved path that led toward the palace. The path was like nothing Lesan had ever seen. It was paved with perfectly square blocks of alabaster-like stone that glowed faintly in the soft underwater light. Tyro pointed out that the material was called Alabama, a rare sea stone prized for its strength and beauty. Excitement bubbled inside Lesan as they followed the path to the grand entrance of the palace. The palace itself was a marvel, built not only from the same Alabama stone, but also from materials that Lesan couldn't identify: gleaming shells, shimmering crystals, and strange glowing minerals that sparkled like stars in the water. The sight left him in awe. At the grand entrance, 2 enormous crabs stood guard. Their shells gleamed in the dim light, and each held a long, glittering spike. The crabs crossed their spikes as Lesan and Tyro approached, stopping them. "Halt! Who enters the royal palace of the Sea Bottom Kingdom?" one of the crabs demanded, their deep voices rumbling like distant thunder. Tyro bowed respectfully and introduced Lesan. "This is Lesan, the human boy who rescued me. He is a friend of the sea, and he wears the ring of the kingdom." Lesan held up his hand, showing the magical ring that Tyro had given him. The crabs inspected it closely, their stern expressions softening as they recognized the ring's significance. "You may pass," one of the crabs said, stepping aside and allowing them through. Lesson's heart pounded with excitement as they entered the palace. Inside, the grandeur continued. Corridors and alleyways twisted in every direction, all crafted from the same beautiful materials. Crabs and shearfish, fish with shimmering blade-like bodies, patrolled the halls, carrying out their duties with precision. The palace was alive with activity, and Lasan was captivated by the sheer scale of it all. Tyro led him through a series of winding hallways until they reached a pair of towering doors. With a gentle push, the doors swung open, revealing a vast hall beyond. As they entered, Lasan's eyes widened in disbelief. The hall was enormous, and it was filled with beings unlike anything Lasan had ever imagined. Mermaids swam gracefully through the water, their shimmering tails leaving trails of light in their wake. They gathered in groups, talking softly, their melodic voices carrying through the hall. Sea creatures of all shapes and sizes were present, some with iridescent scales, others with flowing fins or bioluminescent bodies that glowed softly in the dim light. But what truly took Lasan's breath away was the sight at the far end of the hall. There, on a grand, highly decorated throne, sat the Queen of the Mermaids. She was majestic, her long, flowing hair glowing like strands of moonlight in the water. Her tail was adorned with precious stones, and a crown of seashells and pearls sat atop her head. Her presence commanded respect, and yet there was a warmth in her gaze as she looked at Lisanne. Lisanne stood frozen for a moment, completely astonished by the sight before him. He had never imagined a world like this, and now, here he was, standing in the heart of the kingdom of the sea bottom, face to face with its queen. Tyro nudged Lasan gently. "Go on," he whispered. "The queen is waiting to meet you." Lasan swallowed nervously, then took a deep breath and swam forward, approaching the majestic queen. He had no idea what to expect, but one thing was clear. This adventure was far beyond anything he had ever dreamed. "Long live the great queen of the sea bottom," Lasan said, bowing respectfully as he remembered scenes from some of the movies he had watched before. The grand hall, filled with mermaids, fell silent as all eyes turned toward him, curious and intrigued. The queen, majestic and graceful on her throne, smiled warmly. "It has been a long time since a human walked these halls," she said, her voice soft yet powerful. "I thank you for saving one of my subjects, young Lisanne. Your kindness and bravery are admirable." The queen's words filled Lasan with pride. As a token of her gratitude, she granted him a royal decree, offering him full freedom and permission to enter and explore her kingdom anytime, anywhere. He could scarcely believe the honor bestowed upon him. After more light-hearted conversation, laughter echoed through the hall as the meeting was adjourned, followed by a grand and majestic celebration. The party was unlike anything Lasan had experienced, with tables overflowing with food he had never seen before. Each dish was more delicious than the last, flavors so vibrant and unique that he savored every bite. But as all good things must come to an end, the time arrived for Lisanne to return home. With a mix of joy and nostalgia, he bid farewell to the queen and his new friends. Tyro, ever faithful, accompanied him once more as they left the palace and made their way through the underwater world, back to the shore. As before, Lasan quietly slipped into his room through the window. He felt a sense of wonder, knowing that the magic of the kingdom of the sea bottom would always be waiting for him.